Hi, welcome back to Wallflowers. Have you noticed more people recently talking about digital ID? It's been presented to us as the future, a simple and safe way to prove who we are with just a phone or an app. But what does that really mean and where could it lead? Today, I want to share what digital ID is, how it's being introduced, and why I personally do not agree with it. Because once you understand the bigger picture, it's not just about convenience, it's about control. Let's start with the basics. A digital ID is essentially an electronic version of your identification. Instead of carrying a passport or a driving license, you'd store your details in an app or on a phone or in an online system. And this makes me ask, what's the need for more? We were in the USA just last week and we already had to show our passports, driving license, and on top of that, we had biometrics taken, our fingertip, fingerprints, and our facial ID. So if all of this is already in place, why are we being told we need extra digital systems as well? Why lay out more regulation and more technology into processes that already exist and already work? It's presented to us as convenient. One login for everything. It's described as secure, harder to fake, sometimes tied to biometrics like your fingerprints or your face. And it's promoted as universal. Something you could use for banking, healthcare, travel, shopping, even voting. In simple terms, imagine having your passport, your driving license, your health card, your bank details, and even your travel tickets all rolled into one digital wallet on your phone. On paper, it sounds tidy and efficient, but this is only the first step. Now, here in the UK, one of the main reasons we're being told digital ID is needed is the immigration control. The argument is that if everyone has a secure digital identity, it'll be easier to separate the legal citizens from the illegal immigrants and to prevent fraud in benefit and services. So, on the surface, that might sound like a tidy solution to a serious issue. But let's be honest, no form of regulation has ever stopped illegal immigration, not here, not abroad. We can look at other countries that already have strict ID systems, and still, to this day, illegal immigration continues. It doesn't vanish just because a new layer of bureaucracy is added. So while it's being sold to us as a fix for that problem, the reality is that it won't prevent illegal immigration. What it will do is create a digital net around ordinary people, law abiding people like you and me, while the real issue continues to go unchecked. And that's the heart of my concern. These systems don't stay in the box. They start with one promise, one excuse, and then they grow. What begins as an immigration control soon reaches into banking, healthcare, travel, shopping, until every part of life is tied to one system of permission. Because digital ID isn't being presented as the end goal, it's the first step towards something even bigger, and that's the digital wallet. A digital wallet is where everything comes together: your ID, your bank card, your medical records, your travel passes, your benefits, your shopping history, and in theory, it's a one-stop shop. No fumbling for cards, no need for multiple logins, just one step. And the sales pitch is smooth, It's convenient, it's modern, it's effective. But when everything is centralized into one system, the power shifts. It no longer sits with you, it sits with whoever controls the system. So when the control sits with whoever controls the system, that's where the risks begin. So let's just imagine together what life would look like when your ID, your money, your travel, and all your entitlements are tied into one digital wallet. So you pull into a petrol station and you go to pay, and your transaction is denied, and a message comes up: fuel limit reached for this month, fuel purchases restricted to support climate targets. So the justification would be they'll tell us it's about protecting the environment, reducing emissions, meeting net zero, but in practice it means you can't drive to work, visit your family, or simply live freely beyond the quota you've been assigned. So let's now imagine you're planning a family holiday. You save up, you book time off work, and you're excited. But when you try to buy the tickets, your digital wallet rejects the purchase, and the message reads: annual flight allowance exceeded. Citizens permitted one return flight per year. Again, the excuse will sound good: fairness, equality, reducing carbon footprints. But suddenly your freedom to travel, which was once your decision, is no longer yours. Now let's picture the weekly food shop. You pick up a joint of beef for Sunday dinner, or a steak for a birthday treat, and at the till, your wallet blocks the sale. The message reads: high carbon food limit reached. Please select an alternative protein source. Again, they'll say it's about climate change, sustainability, public health, but it means what you put on your table is no longer your choice. It's rationed by a digital system that tells you what's acceptable. So let's think about heating your home in winter. You log on to your account, but instead of payment, you see usage exceeded, additional energy restrictions this month to meet sustainability goals. They'll say it's about fairness, making sure energy is shared equally. But the reality for you is cold nights, restricted power, and another layer of control over your private life. And what about health? Your digital wallet could be tied to what you eat and drink. So you buy a fizzy drink, but your wallet blocks it. Your sugar quota has been reached. Please try again next month. And they'll justify it as a way to reduce obesity, to cut National Health Service costs, promote healthier living. But this is no longer about guidance or choice. It's permission, controlled permission. Even the small joys of life, a chocolate bar, a glass of wine, could all be decided by someone else. Now let's take it one step further. What if your digital wallet isn't just tied to purchases, but to your behaviour online? Imagine you post something on social media that doesn't fit the new accepted narrative. The next day, your wallet shows a message: access temporarily restricted due to non-compliance with community standards. The explanation they'll say it's to protect society from misinformation, harmful behaviour, dangerous speech. But what is it really? It's social scoring, behaviour monitoring, where your freedom to spend, travel, even eat is tied to your opinions and your words. And let's not forget, technology fails, systems crash, phones break, networks go down. What happens when everything you rely on is digital and suddenly you can't access it? Right now, if your card fails and you have cash, you're safe. But in a digital world, that backup vanishes. And while we're thinking about all this, let's just ask the practical questions. Who pays for it? These systems don't build themselves. They require vast government contracts for technology, software, and infrastructure, and security. And if history teaches us anything, it's the major IT problems rarely come in on time or even on budget. Billions overspent, delays for years, and always it's the taxpayer footing the bill. And what about security? In just the last few years, we've seen huge corporations hacked, banks, supermarkets, even government departments. And if they can't protect themselves, why should we trust a centralised digital wallet holding everyone's most personal data? A plastic card can be cancelled and replaced, but once your biometric details, your fingerprints, your face, and your data are stolen, that's forever. So when I personally look at digital ID, I don't just see the convenience. I see the doorway to a digital wallet, a system that could one day decide how we travel, how we eat, how we heat our homes, and even what we say online. No, thank you. The language will always sound good. Climate protection, public health, fairness, security. But behind those words is restriction, control, and the quiet removal of everyday freedoms. Excuse me. I grew up in a time where your identity was in your own hands. You had your passport in the drawer, your driving licence in your purse, you had cash in your pocket. Independence wasn't something granted by a system, it was lived day by day and was your choice. That's why I say no to digital ID. Not because I don't care about progress or safety, but because I care about freedoms, dignity, and the ability to live life without conditions. I'd actually like to hear from you. What do you think? Do you see digital ID as harmless convenience? Or do you share some of the same concerns I've shown today? Let's talk about it in the comments because this is a conversation that affects all of us. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please take care. Remember you're loved, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye bye.